Hello and welcome to the Crimewatch Roadshow. All this month we're live from all around the UK bringing Crimewatch to you. And all this week we're in the northeast of England. Good morning, Rav.
Good morning, Sophie. Today I'm in the not-so-sunny rural countryside and we're tackling crimes such as this, would you believe, theft of farming machinery. I know you wouldn't think they get too much crime, but they do get more than their fair share. And later on, we will need your help to try and solve it.
We also have cases from around the UK and our number is there on the screen. So if you can help, do get dialing. Coming up, we're after the people who do this. Fly tipping. It costs us all £150 million a year to clear it up. So who's behind it? We want to know. And we've another case from D.I. Jane Corrigan's books. It's a carjacking in London and she needs your help tracking down the men who terrorised a 19-year-old woman in her car. Also, the pet shop in Northumberland that started off like this, but ended up like this. Everything was stolen. Who did it? All that's still to come, but right now, Rav, and your first case.
Well, we're actually after the extremely violent gang who went through extreme measures to get their hands on the takings from a bar in Newcastle. One of the employees almost lost his eyesight as a result. We'll have more on that now.
I get flashbacks now and again, depending on the surroundings that day, even to the point that it's scary being at home when there's nobody else in the house.
It was well planned. The people responsible were quite clearly prepared to use a considerable amount of violence to achieve their aim.
It was the start of another busy week for the staff of Switch Bar on Scotswood Road in Newcastle. Like every Monday, banking the weekend's takings was top priority.
That was just an ordinary, typical Monday. Usually we make the takings up, put them in special sealed bags, escort them to the van and then take them along to the bank.
Paul and his colleagues are cashing up the weekend's takings. At the same time, a blue Nissan Almera approaches the rear of the bar.
I left the rear of Switch, made my way up the street to collect the van.
Two men wearing high visibility jackets walk down Scotswood Road.
Drove down to the back doors. Maury and Chris came out the back of the pub. We got on the van and then we set off for the bank. Nothing seemed different about that particular Monday at all.
But it wasn't to be just another typical Monday, as Paul and his colleagues would soon find out.
Went down Churchill Street. We were stuck on the corner for a couple of minutes, just waiting for the lights to change, really.
It was a momentary pause in an otherwise hectic day.
It was broad daylight, the colleges had just emptied out. This area is busy because of the bus station anyway, so there was lots of people around. When carrying large amounts of money, you always sort of think that it could happen to you, but, you know, we weren't expecting what happened.
Well, I'm with DCI Jim Hetherington, who's looking into the case. And join us later when you find out exactly what went on. And we bring you the clues, which we hope could help you solve it.
Now, remember, we're here all morning, so if you can help us, do call 08000 468 999, or you can text us 63399, text CW, space, and then your message. Also on this morning's show, our correspondent, Peter Lugg, is with us. And what have you got today, Peter?
Good morning, Sophie. Today we're appealing for information on criminals who raided a local pet store. Fish tanks, bird cages, dog leads, they got away with a lot. But, you know, we're determined to track them down.
Peter, thank you very much. Also this morning, DI Jane Corrigan will be joining us with the shocking story of a carjacking. The 19-year-old victim was driving in South London when she was attacked by 5 men in her car. Police need your help to track down the culprits. Plus, we have also got our most wanted faces this morning. Are you going to know any of them? I'll tell you more about them in a moment. But first, keep your eyes peeled because you might just recognise one of our criminals caught on camera.
4 lads in a jeweller's in Watford in March, and there's something dodgy going on. One distracts the manager while the others rig the door open with a mirror from the shop. The manager's suspicious, but it's too late. They leap over the counter and grab him. Off screen, they pin him to the floor, tie him up and hit him, demanding keys to the safe. Then by chance, in walks the manager's dad. He wants to know what's going on. Armed with only a walking stick, he tries to take on one of the robbers, but it doesn't work. He arms himself with a hammer, but it's no use. He's quickly bundled out of the way. The robbers can't get into the safe, so help themselves from the cabinets. Finally, the manager pushes the panic button and the robbers scarper. They stole cash and jewellery and probably think they've got away with it. Let's prove them wrong. Early hours of Saturday morning at Clapham Junction Station last October, and there's a platform full of people waiting for the last train home. It's not long before there's trouble. A group of men are throwing food around, and this man here asks them to stop. What does he get? A torrent of abuse. One man stops throwing food and starts throwing punches. The victim gets a blow full in the face, breaking his jaw. Pointless, mindless violence. Who is he? It's the crack of dawn in June, and we're inside the Co-op in Chapel St Leonard's, Lincolnshire. Suddenly, a pair of feet appear dangling from the ceiling, slowly followed by legs and then a fully formed burglar. A ladder appears and 2 of his mates drop down. Watch out for the wire, mate. He even manages to fall off the ladder. What an idiot. Having broken in through the roof, one takes a crowbar to the cash box before filling up on booze and fags. With all these bags, they must have had a vehicle nearby. Did you see it? They probably think they've got away with it. Let's prove them wrong.
If you recognise anyone, please do call us. The numbers are on screen now, 08000 468 999, or you can text us on 63399. Text CW space and then your message. And don't forget to leave the space or your message won't get through. Now, if you're wondering why the lights are a little dimmer than usual, I'll explain in a moment, because it's that time of the week for us to try and solve a crime on DI Jane Corrigan's books. A 19-year-old girl was subjected to a terrifying ordeal when she was the victim of a carjacking in South London. Well, she has bravely agreed to come onto the show today, although she doesn't want to be identified, so that's why we've dimmed the lights to conceal her face. Good morning to both of you. Tell me what actually happened to you that night.
I went to the pubs to meet a few friends, but they weren't there. The car wasn't where it was earlier, so I did a 3-point turn, and as I turned to leave the road where the pub was, I noticed 5 men in the car looking and watching us. I drove down the street a little bit and saw a friend of mine, so I pulled over, stopped to have a chat. Then this car came, pulled up next to me. They all jumped out, started kicking the car. I drove off immediately, locked my doors, and then got stuck at traffic lights on a one-way street just down the road.
You thought you'd got away by this point, though, didn't you?
Yeah, thought I got away with it, but they came around the corner again. They all jumped out and punching, kicking the doors, windows. The guy that I recognised came over to the driver's side window, smashed the window, took the keys out the ignition and stole my sat-nav and my phone.
And that's all they took, though, isn't it? The sat-nav, the phone, they didn't take your car?
No, they didn't take my car. They dropped my keys on the floor, I got out of the car to try and get the keys back, and they was on the floor.
It's extraordinary, Jane. I mean, you don't hear of this sort of thing very often, do you?
Sophie, it was very unusual. We can't say what the exact motive is, but what we do know is it ended up in a robbery, in a very frightening incident for this young girl. It happened on the 9th of May. It started in East Street in Bromley, South East London. and then it proceeded into College Road, which is where she was attacked for the second time. The main suspect that we're going to show the e-fit of, he's described as Eastern European, possibly Albanian, and all of the men were in their 20s.
And what about the car itself?
The car, it's a silver Vauxhall. We don't know what sort of make, possibly an Astra, and we have the partial registration of that vehicle. And obviously we want anybody who's seen it on the night, because the victim herself was driving quite a distinctive orange Fiat, quite a small car, and we believe that there were witnesses and we'd like them to come forward.
But your car's not a particularly valuable car or anything, is it?
No, it's not worth much at all, I don't think.
So you wouldn't think that they'd be after the car? I mean, you're not unusual in that you're carrying a mobile phone, you've got a sat-nav with you. You can't think why. I mean, they hadn't spotted you earlier or anything like that?
No, they weren't at the pub earlier before. They were just outside the pub.
The motive, I mean, just seems extraordinary. Why on earth would they target a 19-year-old girl with stuff that, you know, loads of people have?
It is bizarre, Sophie, and we still don't know. Was it a case of mistaken identity? We're not sure. We do know they got away with her sat-nav and obviously have left a very traumatised young woman.
Yeah, you must be terribly nervous still. I mean, this only happened last month, didn't it?
Yeah, I haven't driven my car again since I've got a new car. Lock all my doors the second I get in my car, I drive. Very nervous driving.
Very frightening for you. You talk about carjacking. I mean, this obviously ended up in theft, but that whole idea of somebody trying to attack you in your car. You think of America, you think of South Africa, you don't think of the United Kingdom, really, do you?
That's right. This is an unusual crime, and we're hoping that, obviously, because of that, it will stick in people's minds. The main suspect, we believe, had a knuckle duster with him, which is used to smash the window. So has he gone prepared to do this sort of crime? Was it just a thrill for them on the night to target a vulnerable young woman in a car?
OK, well, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us this morning. Thank you for coming in. As always, if you can help us out with any information at all, please do call. The numbers are on the screen right now.
Yesterday, I teamed up with Newcastle City Council, who are tackling a crime that affects all of us. Fly tipping. It's a dirty business which costs the earth, something which the environmental crime team at Newcastle City Council know only too well. It's their job to catch the crooks who dump rubbish illegally, and today team manager Roy Harris is hoping to catch them in the act. Now, this has happened several times where we are right now, and I know that you and the council have had enough of this, so you're going to take some pretty drastic action now.
Yeah, today we're going to put in a camera which is going to be concealed behind us, and it'll overlook this area, so hopefully it'll catch anybody using vehicles who are coming here to fly tip.
Using a carefully concealed camera, Roy will be able to keep a watchful eye on the litterbugs. If your cameras pick these people up doing this, it's actually a pretty hefty charge they could be facing.
The maximum penalties are 5 years in prison or an unlimited fine, so potentially yes.
As someone who's dealt with his fair share of filth, Roy's come across one or two con men in his time who are only too happy to get their hands dirty, so long as the price is right.
One of our priorities as a council is to target people who are presenting themselves as legitimate waste operators, taking their customers' waste, charging up to £300 a lorry load, or thereabouts what a skip would charge, and then just fly tipping the waste. One of the biggest fly tipping cases that's been taken involves serial fly tippers called McLaughlin and Dixon. We traced about 20 deposits over 3 months to them, and they were dumping it all over various locations, not just in Newcastle but in the neighbouring boroughs as well. They had basically conned people into believing that their waste would be disposed of properly. They presented themselves as a sort of legitimate outfit with liveried lorries, discussed with people about what would happen to their waste, and basically tricked them into that. After 3 months of investigations, we had McLaughlin and Dixon arrested. They were charged and then indicted to Newcastle Crown Court, where after they pleaded guilty, McLaughlin was jailed for 21 months and his driver Dixon was jailed for 9 months.
As well as being a complete nuisance, if people are living in a street that someone's just dumped a load of rubbish in and it just looks unsightly, I guess there's also health implications and sort of dangerous aspects, because there could be anything in that rubbish, couldn't there?
Yeah, kids could be attracted to it, animals, wildlife, people's pets could be attracted to it. It might leach out stuff into the water. And
this is actually costing the average taxpayer a lot of money, isn't it?
That's right. It's estimated that it costs landowners and taxpayers and local authorities £100 to £150 million a year to clear fly tipping.
Let's hope this CCTV cleans up this rotten crime. If Roy's cameras catch anything suspicious, or if we receive any tip-offs, we'll be sure to update you. Now, as the rain is really coming down, we'll obviously keep you updated if we hear anything as a result of those CCTV cameras. Now, Roy, you're actually from the film, you're with us now. Tell us about these pictures here. These are actual scenes of tipping that's recently happened.
Yes, this waste was found on the 1st of April on Skinnerburn Road in Newcastle. It's basically carpet, plaster, laths and things.
I mean, it's an absolute mess, but these are typical scenes that you come across with, but you're actually appealing for help to try and find out who's done this, haven't you? You've got something with you now.
We've got some wallpaper which I hope somebody will recognise and hopefully remember having the work done or giving their waste to somebody to take away.
Now, it's not just ordinary wallpaper, it looks quite distinctive, so we're hoping that someone will have a look at this and say, they know where that's come from, what building?
Yeah, we hope so.
OK. Now, this sort of thing happens quite often where you work. How long do you think it's going to be until we get a result from that CCTV camera?
Well, we're going to leave the camera in for 2 weeks, but hopefully it'll be before then that we catch somebody.
So it could be today, it could be tomorrow,
it could be any
overnight,
time. It could be tomorrow, yes.
Now, what sort of advice do you give to people so they're not duped by these illegitimate rubbish clearance people that seem to be operating up and down the country?
Yeah, they must ensure that if they don't give their waste to a local authority, they must give it to somebody who's registered with the Environment Agency. And we would urge them to be particularly wary of people who offer very low prices, whose only means of contact is a mobile phone, or who don't give a business address.
So is it easy to check out if they are actually a legitimate company?
Yeah, they should have paperwork with them, or the producer of the waste can contact the Environment Agency by phone or use the internet.
So if it is a proper company, they wouldn't mind doing that. Now, you say it's a little bit dodgy if they offer a cheap service, but some councils actually beat that, don't they?
Yeah, councils will offer householders either a free or subsidised bulky waste collection service. All the waste can be taken to a civic community site free of charge.
So it can actually be free, so the best thing is phone your council in the first instance. Roy, I'll let you go and get in the dry. Thank you for joining us. And if you know where this wallpaper or this rubbish has come from, please get on the phone and give us a call.
Rav, thank you very much. If you can help, please do call. The numbers are on the screen. And for tips on how to get rid of your rubbish legally, check out our website, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch Roadshow. Now, thank you to everyone who has picked up the phone and contacted us this week. We have had lots of really interesting calls. Some very useful leads on yesterday's case of the man who had 7 valuable parrots, his one of them, stolen. All that has been passed on to police. Yesterday, we showed you CCTV footage of an elderly gentleman being targeted at a cash point. Well, we've been given a name for the man who did that. You can see him crouching there behind his victim, and police are also following that up. Still with CCTV and our petrol thief from last Thursday. Now, remember the one who had free petrol 5 times and then drove at the security guards when they finally tried to catch him? Well, someone's called in offering an address for him. And lots of calls regarding yesterday's CCTV appeal for the man raiding the bookies in Bristol. There he is. Do keep your calls coming. We do want to hear from you. Now, do you recognise any of our most wanted faces this morning? They could be hiding near you. Number 1 here, Vincent Galliotti is 41 and has been on the run for 10 years. He failed to appear in court and is wanted in connection with a serious sexual assault. Northumbria police are anxious to know his whereabouts. You may have seen him recently. If you have, pick up the phone. Number 2, Christopher Darren Doyle. Doyle was jailed for 4 years for wounding his victim. Released early, but recalled to prison in May of this year. He hasn't been seen since. Where is he? Number 3, this is Duke Tong Nguyen. He is wanted by the Northumbrian police in connection with conspiracy to cultivate cannabis. If you know where he is, call us. And number 4 there, Northumbria police would like to speak to this man, Gary Emil Gray. Gray's wanted in connection with an attempted robbery from a security guard in Blythe. Do you know where he is? Call or text. The numbers are on screen. Or if you'd like to remain anonymous, call the independent charity Crime Stoppers. Their number 0800 555 111. Still to come. It's 6 a.m. in Camden in North London, and this man is believed to have sexually assaulted a young woman in a cul-de-sac nearby. Police need your help to track him down. And from big city to country life, we're with the police in Northumbria as they crack down on rural crime.
One of the Bronze Command has just came through to me saying that a quad bike has been spotted driving through Lucca at high speed, 20 to 12 at night. Doesn't sound really good, does it?
No. Now, back to Newcastle city centre, where police need your help to catch the violent gang prepared to stop at nothing to get their hands on the cash.
It's Monday, the 20th of October 2008. Staff at a central Newcastle bar have collected the weekend's takings and are on their way to the bank.
When carrying large amounts of money, you always sort of think that it could happen to you, but we weren't expecting what happened.
Money! Money! Give us some money now! Go! Go! Go!
The offenders on this occasion have quite clearly done the homework.
Whilst this may appear to be a random smash and grab, Senior Investigating Officer D.I. Buzzio spots a carefully crafted plan.
I think it's highly likely that that they have been watching the premises. They've laid the trap. They've been quite specific. They've known the route that the victim was going to take. They've been able to block the vehicle in quite easily, quite simply, and it's given them time then to carry out the attack.
The thieves spray ammonia, a highly noxious chemical, into Paul's eyes.
It felt like somebody had poured lots of pebbles or gravel into my eyes. That was them burning.
After examining their tactics, D.I. Buzzio reveals there's more than meets the eye in the CCTV footage.
As you can see, the van is pulling out and is heading down Churchill Street with the intention of parking at the back of Switch Bar. What's interesting from our point of view is that this vehicle here, this is the Nissan Almera motor car, which is then making its way down, following the victim in the van.
Having pulled up at the rear of the bar, Paul collects his colleagues, unaware that he's a marked target.
It's important to look into the background, because what you will see is, again, you'll see the blue Nissan Almera will actually go, there it is, there it goes at the back of the shot, and out down Churchill Street.
The two offenders can be seen loitering around the corner on Scotswood Road, waiting for their cue from the blue Nissan Almera.
All they're waiting for is for the victims to get into the van, at which point their associate is going to block them in, and it's at that point that they'll then be able to make their move.
It seemed to be the perfect plan, but then this red Corsa pulls away in front of the van.
Shortly, you'll see the blue Nissan Almera, followed by the red Corsa, and then the red transit van.
The Corsa's in the way. The thieves have to think quick on their feet.
What in effect happens is the Almera pulls over to allow the red Corsa to pass through. It then moves back into the middle of the road and, in effect, blocking in the transit van. And it's at that point that the two men in the high-vis jackets attack the passenger window of the transit van.
The robbers speed off down Scotswood Road, over the bridge towards Gateshead.
This is the victim here. He's got his left hand up to his face. He's in some distress.
The problems with the eye are still ongoing. I have to go to the hospital still once a month, put drops in 4 times a day, so I still can't drive at night very well. Still, the vision in the eye is very hazy.
Nearly blinded by the attack, Paul has been left with emotional scars as well.
We're always looking over our shoulder now since it happened. The thought of people watching everything that you do for weeks on end, it's quite scary. I get flashbacks now and again, depending on the surroundings that day. It's even to the point that it's scary being at home when there's nobody else in the house.
Well, with me now is DCI Jim Hetherington, who's also looking into this particular case. Jim, the first thing that strikes me is the brutality of this thing. It just seems completely over the top.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about people that are prepared to squirt ammonia onto somebody's face. It could well have blinded this man. I mean, he's really lucky not to be blind.
And it just seems like they completely ambushed him. They didn't even give him a chance, did they, to squirt this stuff into his eyes?
Not at all. It looks like they've gone there for that purpose. That's it. They've gone in, sprayed him in a way. They haven't given him a chance.
And we can see, I mean, thankfully he's making some sort of recovery, but he could so easily have been blinded by this whole thing. Now, you think this was a pre-planned attack?
We do. I mean, all the evidence would indicate that, yeah, they've known that there's been money taken from that bar on that day. They've known where the vehicle's going to go. Obviously, they've known the route. They've blocked the car in. I'm convinced that this is well planned.
OK. Now, you actually know how much money was stolen as well, and it's a staggering amount, isn't it?
We're talking in excess of £40,000 gone, yeah.
So it really shows that it does sound like very much as if it was a pre-planned attack. So I guess the question is, how do we catch these guys?
Well, I mean, we would really like to appeal to anybody that's seen, particularly two men in the high-visibility jackets in the area on that day. They stand out in what they're wearing. Clearly the blue Almira, we know that vehicle was taken across to Bensham where it was burnt out. That'll have been in the area on the day as well. So anybody that's seen the men in the jackets or the blue Almira, please get in touch with us. It's very important.
Yeah, good appeal point, Seven. Of course, people could have spoken about this as well. That's the other thing. And if they have spoken about it, if they've spoken about it and you've heard it, then please do get on that phone. We really would love to hear from you on this one. That's you in the dry studio, Sophie.
Thank you, Rav. If you can help, the numbers are on screen now. Take a look at this now. More criminals caught on camera. And yes, you've guessed it, we're back at the bookies.
It's Ladbrokes in Headingley, Leeds, and this man's just won some money on the fruit machines. But you wouldn't bet on what he's going to do next. He seems harmless, armed only with a bag of exotic fruits. But when he spots the manager with a cash box, he makes a lunge for it. There's a struggle. She ends up on the floor. He grabs the cash and heads for the door. Nice close-up. We've got his face and his bag of fruit. Now we need a name. The man in the red jacket seems to be looking for something. He spends half an hour circling the streets of Camden, North London last September. Here he is on a 214 bus, but it's not long before he's back on the street. A few minutes later, at 6 a.m, police believed he dragged a young woman into a cul-de-sac and raped her. Have you seen him on a street or bus near you? One call is all it takes. The man standing by the door at this bookies in East London is the lookout for a gang of robbers. While he checks that the coast is clear, his mates smash open a games machine and steal the cash. The lookout is doing a very good job of giving us a good look at him. A little bit closer? Yeah, that's better. Another day, another robbery and another lookout. This one seems to be a bit more careful about his appearance. Oops, not for long. They could be with this man, Junior McGibbon, who's also thought to be part of this gang. If you've seen any of them, it's time to call us. 4 train stations in South London, and these guys have found a new way of stealing cash. Watch these two at St John's. They look innocent enough, but they're laundering money by using dodgy notes in the ticket machines. Same deal in Norbury. Using damaged money from cash in transit robberies, this pair choose a cheap fare for a few quid, pay with a stolen note and pocket the change. Police reckon they've already taken home 60 grand in the last 4 months. They think they've got away with it. Not so clever now.
Please, if you know something that could help, do tell us. 08000 468 999, or you can text us on 63399. Text CW space and then your message. And don't forget to leave the space or your message will not get through. Please do keep your calls coming. Thank you to everyone who has called so far this morning. We really need your help, particularly that 19-year-old girl who we saw earlier, too frightened to show her real identity, who was carjacked in Bromley in South London. If you have any idea who the gang were behind that terrifying attack, please do pick up the phone now. That's the EFIT, that the description that the young girl gave the police. And also fly tippers in Newcastle. If you've got any information on that could help this morning, please call us now. We really do want to hear from you. Now, back to Rav, who is on the trail of countryside crooks and looking quite the part this morning, if I may say so.
Well, it's just as well, isn't it, Sophie, that I've got these wellies on today. The rain's pouring down. Now, I'm in the northeast countryside today, where it's a sad fact that crime is actually on the increase, despite it looking pretty peaceful and tranquil up here. And these bad guys seem to stop at nothing in order to profit from their crimes up here. But Northumbria police are doing everything in their power to stop them.
Sector Inspector Sue Peart is in charge of cracking down on crime in Northumbria's rural north.
The biggest problem we have at the moment is travelling criminals, and they're stealing things like quad bikes, diesel, farming equipment, and of course they believe that the rural areas are easy pickings, which is why we have operations like tonight to demonstrate that it's not.
Operation Farmwatch is an overnight lockdown of the Northumbrian countryside which targets travelling criminals and poachers. There'll be 50 police officers, farmers and gamekeepers involved in tonight's operation. One of the gamekeepers is Davy Bertram. The estate he's charged with protecting has been targeted by poachers before, and he's not happy about it.
Poaching is stealing from the land. The person who owns the land, he pays his taxes to the government for the land, and these people come and pinch off it. I don't like it. I don't like these people at all. The more people we can get involved in this farm watch, the better.
Back at the briefing, Sue Peart has a tough message for criminals.
You can come to our area if you want legitimately, and you're welcome. If you come to our area for an unlawful purpose, we'll take you out by whatever means we can.
Members of Operation Farmwatch are dispatched to their strategic locations. PC Roxy Bird is heading east towards the coast, while PC Andy Swinburne is heading north. As night falls, Roxy and her colleague arrive at their lookout point. There's just time to stock up on fuel before the operation commences.
Well, this is it. Dine with the sergeant tonight, and it's Meals on Wheels, unfortunately.
It's 11 p.m. and back at the control centre, final orders are given for Operation Farmwatch to begin.
Lockdown commences now. Commencing now.
So let's hope it's exciting, Sergeant.
Up in the Northern Patrol, the first stop of the night is not quite what PC Andy Swinburne was expecting.
For the Chinese, please.
Right, you need to turn around and just go back down to the next right. And if you turn up there, that would take you up into the town centre.
Okay.
It's 11:30 and back in the Eastern Patrol, the radio waves have so far been completely silent. If there are any poachers or travelling criminals about, they're proving elusive. They decide to get moving.
We're hoping when we come across something.
A few minutes later, Roxy gets her first call.
One of the Bronze Command just came through to me saying that a quad bike has been spotted driving through Lucca at high speed, 20 to 12 at night. Doesn't sound really good, does it?
Roxy gets on the phone to gamekeeper Davy Bertram.
Are you going to head up there now then, Davy, yeah? Cheers then, we will too, bye.
The team might be on the scent of a poacher or travelling criminal. Davy's on his way, and so is Roxy.
1922 from 904.
Meanwhile, officers in the control room think there may be an intruder at a private home in the Northern Patrol area.
This is the property we've been called to. Apparently the security lights have activated. Our concerns are either theft of diesel or theft of farming equipment, etc. I'll have a walk about. It's a big light in the background. It's a very strong smell of diesel, isn't it?
Andy scours the property.
But it would appear to be, on this occasion, a false call made with good intent. It may well have been an animal that set the security light off.
Meanwhile, over in the Eastern Patrol area, PC Roxy Bird has raced to Lucca village on the hunt for a suspicious quad bike, but she's arrived too late.
Hello, Davy. We're up in Lucca now. Did you manage to get here before us? Have you seen anything on your travels? Wasn't any movement then? Okay.
On this occasion, the suspicious vehicle has proved elusive for the team. On the way back up to his vantage point, Davy spots a typical poacher's target.
Now, that here has not been lumped for some considerable time.
Lamping is a technique poachers use to dazzle their prey.
Because if it had been lamb chased, it would have been away like Billio. So we'll just go through and give it a little chase and make it aware of the lamb's danger.
Taking part in tonight's farm watch operation is hugely important to Davy.
I just don't like these people doing it because they're stealing. And they're stealing my money.
It's now 2:15 in the morning and the operation has come to an end. Roxy reflects on the night's events.
Although it's been quiet, it's still been very proactive, and part of being a police officer's duties is being proactive as well as reactive.
And with me now is Inspector Sue Peart and gamekeeper Davy Bartram. Now, Sue, I've got to say, you were in the film there. It looks like you had a lovely quiet shift. I wish I had a few of those in my Peckham days. Is that typical for you?
It's not typical. It was a really quiet night. Normally we run the operation and it's much, much busier. Just luck of the draw, I guess.
OK, now, machinery is big business for you at the moment, looking into these stolen farm things, such as this quad bike. You're looking into something similar like this at the moment?
Yes, we had a quad bike like this stolen on the 18th of December last year from a farm in Long Framlington. It was very, very similar to this one we've got here, had lots of similar features, such as the heated handlebars.
As you're talking this, so the camera's just going to have a look around so we can have a good look at what it is. You've got these heated handlebars, and what other features does it have?
Feeder on the front, very, very similar to this, and also an LED light on the back.
So, and what is it? What is this model? So this is similar, very similar to one that was stolen and you're looking for.
This is a 350 EF model, Honda, red colour, very, very similar to this is what we're looking for. Anybody who may have been offered it at a knockdown price or has any information about any theft in the rural area, please give us a call.
Now, this is worth quite a bit of money as well, isn't it?
About £4,000.
Yeah, so
lot of dosh.
Really do want to find it. OK then, Sue, that's good. Now, your area you cover is pretty big, isn't it? Tell us how big it is.
500 square miles.
It is an absolutely huge area, and you've got some nifty devices with you you want to show us.
Yeah, we're trying to do everything we can to make the farms as secure as possible. These are what we call driveway alarms.
Hold them up so the camera can have a look there. Tell us what these are.
Driveway alarms. We actually made a bid to our Crime and Disorder Fund, and we were able to buy 250, which we've given out to the farmers. Very, very simple. This is a receiver. This is a detector. The farmer puts it on the gate. It detects movement. If somebody drives onto their land, sets the alarm off. We recently had an activation where we got 2 people arrested and some property recovered.
As a result of these?
Absolutely.
Fantastic result. Well done, Sue. Now, I'm going to talk to you, Davy, as a gamekeeper. Now, you're part of this farm watch. Tell us quickly what that is.
Well, it's just farmers and gamekeepers watching around the land at night, making sure everybody tries to behave themselves.
So is it fair to say it's a kind of neighbourhood watch for farmers?
Yeah, neighbourhood watch for farmers, yes.
And it's pretty good because you found some poachers on your land, haven't you?
Yes, 3 weeks, a month ago, we got a telephone call at 20 to 1 in the morning. The wife and I went out, and she went one way, I went another. We apprehended them, the police came, and they had a hare in the vehicle caught by the dogs. Good
result there, Davy. Well, it all sounds like it's working. It's a good scheme, and I'll let you carry on with that and go and get in the dry. And there you go. It's a good scheme. Let's hope it carries on working. Back to you, Sophie.
Rav, thank you very much. Remember, we are here all morning, so if you can help, call us 08000 468 999 or text 63399. Text CW space and then your message. Now, come over here and have a look at some more of our most wanted faces this morning. Face number 5 here, 50-year-old Walter Brian Howe. Howe failed to appear at Newcastle Crown Court on a burglary charge in 2003. He's now on the run, and Northumbrian police would like to find him. Do you know where he is? Number 6, Amir Saman Bezadian. He is wanted in connection with a theft that took place at his previous workplace back in December 2007. He's on the run, and police would also like to catch up with him. Number 7 here, 45-year-old Richard Paul McKenna is wanted in connection with fraud in the Morpeth area last October, as well as 2 similar offences in North Tyneside. Where is he? And face number 8. This is 33-year-old James William Beattie. Beattie is wanted in connection with theft from a property in August 2007. He is originally from Scotland, and Northumbria Police would like to have a word with him. So, if you know where they are, please do call us. The numbers are on the screen now. Right now, though, let's show you some more criminals caught on camera.
We're on a crowded number 63 bus travelling through North London, and this bloke's decided that, despite a lack of space, he's going to stretch his legs. As this passenger squeezes past him, he doesn't like it, gets up and elbows the victim. He then goes on to assault him. Let's put a stop to this mindless thug. Call if you recognise him. Ah, this bloke's on his lonesome and seeks the company of fellow drinkers. He finds a group at the Lytton Tree pub in the City of London and sits at an empty table. But this is not your friendly stranger. The group of gentlemen at the next table don't notice that he's getting closer and closer. He then finds what he's looking for. Yep, the computer bag on the floor. He picks it up and leaves. What a nerve. Can you put a name to this man? If you can, call us. We're in Wandsworth, London, at this Summerfield service station, and this man's filling up. Oi mate, you haven't paid for your petrol. The vehicle's carrying false number plates, but he can't disguise his face. Who is he? September last year in Phoenix, Newcastle, and this lady is after a dog. It's not long before she spots her choice of breed, takes it off the shelf and bags it. That porcelain doggy is worth £250 and she takes it for a walk without paying. We need some leads.
If you've got any leads, do call. The numbers are on the screen now. 08000 468 999, or you can text us on 63399. Text CW space and then your message. Don't forget to leave the space or your message will not get through. An update on our progress so far. Someone has texted in with the name of one of the guys in the Switch Bar attack, the man who sprayed ammonia in our victim's face and nearly blinded him. We'll, of course, pass all that on to police. Thank you to everybody who has called in this morning. What about tomorrow? Rav, what have you got for us?
It sounds good on the progress there, Sophie. Tomorrow I'm back pounding the pavements in Newcastle city centre, hoping you guys at home can help catch this vicious knife attacker.
It was the most terrifying thing I've ever went through in my life.
Nobody should be carrying a knife.
It was a terrifying ordeal for an innocent young man. More on that tomorrow. But in the meantime, please do keep your calls coming. The lines will be open all day. We really do want to hear from you. So see you tomorrow, same time, 9:15. Do join us for Crimewatch Roadshow. Me and Rav Wilding. From all of us here now, though, goodbye.